Hey guys, check out my latest podcast on Gavin Richard Presents, only on Anchor and Spotify. That's right, guys. We have moved to podcasts, so now we are heard all over the internet. I just don't do YouTube. Of course, you can't stop me. We do talk about a whole course of issues, whether it's race, politics, sports, entertainment, you name it, we claim it. So please check out the podcast Gavin Richard Presents on Anchor and Spotify. I'll holla. Peace. Alright, what's up, family? So, this article comes from Hip Hop DX concerning Joe Budden. If you guys have heard the news, Joe Budden hosts the podcast on Spotify. Well, he did for the time being. And Joe Budden obviously had an issue with Spotify, apparently with the deals that they're offering him. If you look at the statistics from Spotify, I think he actually has, his podcast actually is one of the highest rated on their platform. Now, Joe obviously had a deal that they wanted to work with him, and he's shot, I believe, over nearly 400 episodes of his podcast. I mean, the brother has always been, I would say performing, but actually he's been hitting the groundwork on this stuff. So, Joe is leaving Spotify over a dispute and is about to start his own podcast when, of course, that attracted news, and the Breakfast Club had to speak out on it because we know Charlamagne and the rest of those guys, they always want to throw their 2 cents into everything, and they think they know every damn thing, especially Charlamagne the God. Now, I've had my issues with Charlamagne, mainly because Charlamagne, he, like Monique says, tried to point himself as the guru of, hold on one second, excuse me, the guru of black media and so forth, and acts like he speaks for all black people. But it sounds from time to time he only likes to be black when it's convenient. He always talks black when it's convenient about certain issues. And Charlamagne criticized Joe Budden with regards to his negotiating skills on the Breakfast Club. And if you read the comments from that video, and I don't really listen to the Breakfast Club like talking about it, but the Breakfast Club is the highest rated morning broadcast, I believe, on iHeartRadio for 10 straight years. But he criticized Joe Budden's negotiating skills. On episode 376, his latest podcast episode, Joe Budden spoke about why he was leaving Spotify, and he broke it down for Charlamagne. He says, Charlamagne, let me help you. I know that you have this healthy obsession with me. I know that you think we are competing. You might also think that we are fighting the same fight. You would be sadly mistaken in all three of those. He opined, Charlamagne, you're not getting it because I own this. My most valuable, my most powerful, my most accomplished asset, I own it. Ownership. You see all of these black people running around preaching ownership, ownership, ownership. There's a reason for it. You, my friend, worked for iHeart and have for 10 years. Budden later emphasized how having ownership of his podcast put him in a different situation than Charlamagne, who works for iHeartRadio. He publicly addressed the Breakfast Club host about being properly compensated and referred to Charlamagne as misinformed. Charlamagne, you broke an entire radio station, he said. The #1 morning drive show 10 years in a row. I asked him when I spoke to him, me and Charlamagne, do you think you're paid properly for the work that you've done? How much y'all make up there? You ain't got to answer it. I know y'all know. Go to sleep and think about it. But 10 years at #1, breaking a radio station, breaking a network because it's iHeart. They also have a podcast division. See, Charlamagne, for me, Joe would never do that because It signifies conflict of interest. Budden continued, I cannot have somebody with the voice as powerful as you just be misinformed on shit. 10 years, you're number one. How are you paid? I'm listening to your fucking ads. We're not having the same fight behind the scenes. It looks the same, but it's not the same. Don't be fooled by the cross streets. Now, I won't go on, but Budden, I'm going to go on a little bit, but Budden even talked about how Charlamagne lost gigs with MTV and HBO. Because you remember a little bit, especially after the Charlamagne's book came out, I believe a couple of years ago, back in 2018. It dropped late 2018 because he was on ESPN. He was on with Stephen A. Smith trying to promote that and going at Stephen A. Smith for the way he attacked Colin Kaepernick. But Charlamagne actually was in talks to host a show on HBO. I remember all of that starting, and of course, last year, you remember they were bringing up all of those old allegations that Charlamagne had, that he sexually assaulted a minor, some criminal act that took place, and nothing could be done anyway since he was already already charged on that matter, and it was dismissed. So nothing could have been done anyway out of it. I thought they were just rehashing old stuff like they do all the time with people, but he certainly makes a good point here. You're just talking your network, but you're not paying for nothing, so what splits you about to get? The retired MC asks, that's what Spotify said to me, Charlamagne. They said, hey, we want to participate in something we're not building. And I said, no, I've never asked for anything. There's been no negotiation because there's nothing to negotiate. I'm looking at how Spotify treats people. He added, Charlamagne, you'll never know the true value of Breakfast Club when you're in a fucking multimedia conglomerate. And they're just going to collateralize everything in the universe. You're not just going to see a penny. Y'all just reading ads. Shut up. Stop interrupting me. I'm busy doing real shit that's going to affect you. And when I say to you, hey, don't worry about it, I'm going to show you, you just get defensive. Whew. So what y'all think, guys? Does Joe Budden have a point about this? I certainly think that Joe, I respect Joe Budden. I don't even listen to his podcast, like talking about it. I've seen bits and pieces of it, but he's made me a follower after this, because those guys at the Breakfast Club, especially Charlamagne and Angela Yee, Envy, all of them really, especially Yee, I can't stand her from time to time. She's said a lot of sucker shit when they were interviewing, and all three of them, the way they handled Angela Stanton King, the sister that's running for John Lewis's congressional seat as a Republican, they were tougher on her than Charlamagne was on Joe Biden. I mean, let's just be real. Now, he did ask, if you compared Charlamagne to Cardi B, well, I say Charlamagne did a hell of a better job with that interview and questions he was asking, but they were real aggressive with that sister because she was a Republican and she schooled all of them. And, Angela was saying some stupid stuff about babies and saying, well, it's not a baby, it's a fetus, when talking about abortion. And, that's another story, but, good and damn well it's a baby. Life starts at conception. Now, I'm not going to get into the whole abortion thing, but that's just my whole thing about the Breakfast Club. They talk and say nothing. And, Charlamagne, of course, when he came at Monique, and Monique called him out and challenged him, it looked bad when they did that. And a lot of people looking sideways at it, and especially now, being that Monique has a lawsuit against Netflix that's actually pushing forward. I think a lot of people are not talking about that. And, maybe that's something we can talk about a little bit later on. There's a lot of news going on in the world. But this one was just caught my attention because this is about ownership. And ownership is very key in building an economy. And also building self-reliance. Because you do not want to be in a situation where you know, you got to get up every morning. You know, in virtually all Americans do is just like robots. We get up every morning at a certain time to go to a certain place to work for 8 to 10 hours or more. There's nothing wrong with that. Of course, I love working my job too, but I'm my own boss. You know, I go to work when I want to. I go to court when I set my dates when I want to, and I like to the idea, you know, of getting paid directly, charging my clients what I need to charge them, and so forth. But you know, there's nothing wrong with having a regular 9 to 5 either. But that's something you want to do for the rest of your life, and I think Joe doesn't want to do that. Joe doesn't want to be owned by someone else. He wants to own his brand, and I can respect that. And like I said, when this Brothers podcast starts, whatever platform it's on, I will be a subscriber to the Joe Budden podcast. And I also hope on this note you guys would subscribe to my podcast. If you saw earlier in the intro, Gavin Richard presents on Anchor. For that, guys, you guys leave a comment. Tell me what you think. If you'd like to donate to the Cash App, the links will be in there, as well as the GooglePay links. What y'all think about this? Leave a comment, like, subscribe, share this video. Do you support Joe Budden? Do you support Charlamagne? Do you think Charlamagne stepped on his bounds a little bit, or do you think Joe was just overreaching and overreacting? You guys let me know what you think in the comment section. I'll see you guys in the next video. Whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you are blessed and doing safe. I forgot to say that at the intro, but I said it. Made sure I said it in this video. Guys, I will holla. That has been it. Peace.